So we ready?
We are ready.
It's preparing, but we're going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
So tonight I have with me a very awesome lady who I've grown to love over this past year. Um, inspired by world-class speakers, the legendary master of motivation, Les Brown, Rachael Elizabeth Bell is making waves, inspiring the masses, and leaving her mark wherever she speaks. Rachael is now a certified Les Brown Unlimited speaker. She's the creator of D.Y.D.Q, Don't You Dare Quit, and she's always an entrepreneur. For many years, Rachael allowed her own struggles with mental health to stop her from living her dreams and for reaching for what she knew was her calling, to inspire others through the sharing of her own struggles. She learned that when she changed, the world around her changed. She realized that she had that much power, and so do each of you. Rachael is thrilled to have partnered with Les Brown Global to host an upcoming empowerment event in Ottawa, Canada in June of 2019. So please help me welcome my friend, Miss Rachael Bell.
Hey. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So of course we want to know, who is Rachael Bell? If we ask you the question, who's Rachael Bell? Tell us who Rachael Bell is.
First and foremost, I am a mom. I think that's something that I take great pride in. My children might describe me as a helicopter mom, but that's okay. I think it helps me keep them close. I am a wife. I am an entrepreneur. I've always loved working for myself. I'm sure as a child, I was probably that person who wasn't great with authority. So I needed to be my own boss. But I am someone who cares deeply about other people, and I take great joy in seeing other people succeed. So I try to put myself in those situations where I feel like I could give back and I can contribute. And I've done that in many different ways, whether it's through events or doing things with different charities or just doing my job every day. I like being of service to others.
And I don't live with you, but I can attest to you being that person, what you just said. So like I said, thank you for coming on. I'm not going to keep you long. I want to get to, of course, the event, this awesome event that's going to happen next month. But I want to talk about, first of all, D.Y.D.Q. Can you talk about Don't You Dare Quit to everyone? Because that's what you resonate. You don't quit, and you tell us not to quit.
I don't quit. No, I don't quit. I'm pretty determined, persevere no matter what obstacles come my way. D.Y.D.Q was inspired by a running group actually that happened, it was in Ottawa, Canada, and they were the Good Guys Try. And they were an organization that raised so much money for children's cancer research. And they would do these 100-kilometer runs. And I was just so inspired that they lived intentionally. And it made me realize that, okay, they had a story for why they did what they did. And I knew I had a story within me. And it's like, okay, how do I take my own struggle and my own pain and find a way to help others? So instead of living in shame for the struggles that I had, it was like, okay, wait a second. What if I can find a way to give back? So D.Y.D.Q actually just started with a logo. It started with me like wanting to give a message out there, something that was, hey, I love quotes. I've always loved quotes. And so I would keep them, and I had these books and these sticky notes everywhere, and I would just like keep them everywhere. And I knew that there were those dark times where I would just see that quote and it would get me through my day or get me through even the moment, right? And when you're just like, sometimes in those hard times, you just need to breathe and get through the moment. So shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you will land on the stars, was something that forever has resonated with me because I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist. So it kind of gave me permission that it was okay not to be 100% all the time. It was still enough. It was still great. It was like, I can have these big audacious goals that I want to meet, but it was okay not to miss the mark, that you were still okay. And so when I started formulating that logo, that's where the little man with the stars shows up in my logo. It was actually inspired by Les Brown, which is so neat. And what I wanted to do with that was to find a group of individuals who were struggling the most and impact them the most way. And so I think that youth between the ages of like 12 and like 17, 18 seem to struggle the most. That definitely was where I struggled the most. And so when I started this, I made sure that 100% of the profits from my corporation would go to the CHIO, which is the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, and to their youth mental health division. So I've expanded from there about, where I see the corporation going and what I want to do with that. But yeah, it's definitely evolving. It's definitely growing. And I just hope that D.Y.D.Q is a message that people hear and that it really impacts them and helps them not only reach for their goals and dreams, but for people who are struggling with mental illness. I know that people who have been on the verge of suicide or something like that have said, hey, you know what? I did see your message and it made me stop for a second and take a breath. So, and if that's what it's doing, then that's awesome.
I heard you mention a division of CHIO. I think it was for children.
Yeah, so CHIO is the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. So I wanted to make sure the money went to the youth mental health division there. So the CHIO Foundation is just an incredible place. Like the Children's Hospital is incredible, but the foundation is really great at making sure the money can get to specific places that you want it to. And so when I wanted to give the money to CHIO, that was like a no-brainer to me. It was just like, yep, that's where this money is going to go. And they make sure it goes to the mental health division.
I don't know per se in Canada, but I know in the United States, suicide from ages 10 to 24 is the second leading cause of death. And that's scary. A 10-year-old child, 11-year-old child. So I applaud you for D.Y.D.Q. And like you said, I love when you said maybe you have to take a breath. I think that's something I'm going to carry around and take from you. Take a breath, because sometimes that meditation, it does help you. And I think it's an awesome inspiration of what you're doing. So thank you from me to the thousands of people that you are going to affect in the future. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And this month also is Mental Health Month, correct?
Yeah, actually my children's school actually did a big mental health week. And I think something that's really important too, and this is something I've talked to my own children with in their own struggles, and I have practiced myself, is actually learning how to take 6 deep breaths. And that is a long enough pause where you actually learn to deep breathe and you really just take in that air. Because when we're in panic situations too, we're not breathing. Our brains aren't getting oxygen, and it gives us a chance to respond rather than react, right? And it's like to take yourself in that situation where you go, okay, I'm panicking or I'm stressed or I'm tired and, I don't know what to do. And it's okay. There's definitely grounding techniques that you can do, right? Like list 5 things that you can see or 5 things that you can smell. And by taking that opportunity to breathe, then you can pull yourself back and, look at things more rationally, right? And not make impulsive decisions that, I know myself, I struggled when I was 17 years old and attempted to take my own life twice. And I look now and I go, wow, like I wouldn't be where I am now if that had happened. Yeah. Right. And I didn't have someone or a message then that was in my face that stopped me. And I wish that something would have been there because I wouldn't have went through that. Now, maybe I wouldn't be where I am today, but I wish that message was there for someone else. So if it's don't you dare quit, then I hope that works.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's a very powerful statement. It's influential. And I definitely am going to I know we have maybe a week left of May, but I know I've definitely been talking about the mental health because it's affecting a lot of families. We just had a young man commit suicide 2 weeks ago. And the children in school were very depressed. They were very hurt. So it's definitely something that it's not a one household problem. So again, I appreciate you. And those six breathing, that breathing technique, I'm going to use that too.
Thank you.
That too. Rachel said. So we're moving on. How do you think that this event in June will impact those that are dealing with mental health? or with emotional? How do you feel that this will? Because I know you centered it around it, and maybe you can just give the name of it. I haven't really said about the name, so if you could just give the name of the event. And
Right. So unlock your powers
yeah,
within. And the event is really about unlocking your, like, tapping into your mind, body, and spirit, right? So, and I think that's why Les Brown is so perfect for this event. And we're so blessed that he chose to be with us and to do this, and that he was like, he's coming, because he is a master at that, right? Of explaining that it's not just motivation. He talks about good health. He
mm-hmm.
talks about, taking time to take care of your spirit. And he's the whole package. He understands it. He is a 28-year cancer conqueror because of who he is. And this event, it really does cover all of the bases. Every speaker that's there has a story where they've all been impacted. I think we all have. I think we're very naive to think that nobody has gotten away without dealing with mental health, whether it's yourself or somebody else. And if you haven't yet yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you will. You will, right? Life is tough. Life is hard. We all go through hard times. So an event like this, I think we're going to touch on every single area, whether it's motivation or uplifting or inspiring or resilience or everything. I think we've really covered every basis, from the powerhouse speakers to the soft and gentle to spiritual. I think we've really done a great job
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. I think that anyone who really wants to be, as you said, you want them to be uplifted, they need to come to this event. I don't think it's anyone that will leave that event, that attends the event and embodies everything that's going to go on, that will leave the same way. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. First of all, the spirit behind the event has to be big, and that's from you, the influence behind it. And I think that matters, the foundation of why, because so many people, let's be honest, they have events, and it's all about, the cash cow. But I know for a fact that this event was not built off of money, however we need it, but it wasn't built off of money. It was built off of influence of you wanting people to leave and feel free. So can you take me back to April of 2018, when I was at the Les Brown certification event? Tell me how it was, you finally going to, meet him, and I think you've taken some courses. Can you take us back to 2018 in April?
Well, I've said too, it was like knees knocking and teeth chattering. I got on that plane. It was like, wow, here I go. And I mean, crazy experiences too, right? I think I'm completely prepared, and I get there and I pull out my suit and there's like a hole in the rear end. I'm like, oh my God, I have no clothes. What am I gonna do? Like, things happen, right? You're like, okay, persevere. Don't you dare quit. You're going.
Right.
But I showed up early and I checked out the room, and I was just captivated, right? I'm like, oh, I'm actually here and I'm by myself, and this is wonderful. It's Florida. The second I see palm trees, I'm just like, oh, I'm at ease, right? I live in Canada and it's cold. We get 2 months of warm weather. But it was just so incredible. Like, when Les walked in the room and he walked amongst people, I'm like, what is this? Like, he was touching your hand and he was shaking your hand, he was hugging you. And I remember him walking up to me and saying, like, are you enjoying yourself? And I'm like, what? Like, really? Like, I couldn't believe that he just was just this like ordinary yet extraordinary man. And he was just everywhere. And to see him on stage and hear him laugh and how profound he is. I mean, he takes you on an adventure. How he tells about his stories, like, you feel like you're right there in the moment, living it with him over and over and over. And it doesn't matter how many times you've heard the message, it's so different when you're right in front of him. And it was funny, actually. I think I've told this story before, that Les stole my seat. It's awesome. We were all sitting at round tables, and there was some judging of speakers, and I ended up being front and center, as I make sure that I do. And I remember someone tapping me on the shoulder and saying, excuse me, can I have your seat? And it was Les. And I'm like, oh, forever. I just like fell in love with him. I'm like, yeah, like, of course. What am I going to do? Say no? Like, but I mean, I felt forever changed. And when I went there, I knew, I'm like, an old part of me needed to die. The insecurity and the anxiety and everything, the disbelief and, self-sabotage talk had to end when I went there. And at the end of the event, on the third day, we all joined hands in the room. And I remember just sobbing, like literally sobbing, like it was this like spiritual moment where I was like, okay, I'm like, I needed to let this go. I needed to like step into my greatness, and I needed to just like get rid of what was happening. And yeah, I felt forever changed. And I was in the hallway and recording a video talking about the event. And I said Les's name and he walked right behind me. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit of a mess here. Let's record this again. And then I walked outside to do a live video from the event, and Les was leaving. And I remember, actually gets me quite emotional. The car was pulling away with Ona. Sorry. With Ona and Les. They were pulling away. And I remember just yelling, thank you. And I thought, if I never see this man again, I really hope the last words he ever hears from me are thank you. Because what else could I say? I didn't know what else to say to him. But I got to say thank you as he pulled away. And that was my memory of him. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so emotional. And I remember thinking, wow, I wish there was a way to bring more people to feel what I felt, because it was just so magical. And then birthed this idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you think you'd be doing? Do you think you would be partnering with him and doing an event?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was a knowing.
Right.
It was a knowing that this was going to happen. It was a confidence and a knowing that no matter what, I saw this. I saw Les walking into the Brook Street Hotel, and I knew, I was like, eventually it'll happen. Eventually he'd be like, okay, there's enough Canadians saying, come to Ottawa. We want you here, that somehow in some way this will happen. I knew, I just knew, and I saw the speakers, I saw these people, and I wanted the opportunity to thank Les for 50 years of speaking and to be in Ottawa. And I'm just so glad that so many people when at Les was like, come on, we need you in Canada. And he partnered with us and said, like, let's do this. And I'm just so grateful. Just so grateful. Yeah.
If everyone has an experience like you just had, we're going to be sold out in no time, because, and I can concur with what you felt at that certification. I went as a little lost puppy, never really having gone anywhere to an event like this and being in his presence. And to get there, missed the first flight, had to miss the first night. And I was so upset. And one of my friends was like, don't worry about it. Just, you're going to still get there. Because I want to see Les and Ona. I want to miss Les. So don't worry about it. You're still going to be there. So I got there like 10 o'clock at night, that Friday evening. And so I missed the whole Friday, and I was kind of bummed. And I remember coming that Saturday, and I sat at a different table than one of my SBL people, Luis. And I sit at this table and just made connections. And I remember that table, there was a lady that was so shy, and she didn't want to do anything. And now she has a book.
Oh.
She has a book. And I'm looking at these people, and just like you, but the one quote that has resonated with me was, don't let other people's opinion of you become your reality. And I think that's my favorite Les Brown quote and behind the story, because I was told I could never be an actor. I could never be a star. You're from a little town. You can never go here. And I have an opportunity now to be, in the presence of Les Brown and other great speakers. And I am so excited. So I'm so glad you didn't quit. I'm so glad you didn't quit. And
we learn, right? Sometimes our greatest gifts are wrapped in sandpaper. And now I just use them as stepping stone, right? Every time that I was knocked down, or any time people told me that I wasn't worth investing in, or people told me that they didn't believe in me or that I wouldn't do, I'm just like, you know what? When Les Brown believes in you, you start believing in yourself. When Chris Downing starts believing in you, you start believing in yourself. And that's how profound these speakers are, right? Like Allison and Brett and Mark and Chris and Kareem and Hal and Celeste and yourself and Davina. right?
Yeah.
You've got this team of people who are just there to support each other. And we hope that all of our guests that do attend will network, spend the time, right? It's wonderful that we have an evening reception set up.
Yeah.
Spend the time when we've got the breaks, connect with the speakers, connect with each other, share business cards, get to know each other, because we want people leaving that you know, and they've developed these friendships.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Brook Street Hotel is like, I've said many times, it's like a resort. You know, there's the outdoor pool and the indoor pool and the beautiful hotel. Take the time and network and build relationships, right? Because in the end, all of our material things just go, right? The only thing we really have in this world is our relationships. And
Yeah.
I think this opportunity gives everyone to, you know, lead with love and be there for each other and learn and grow.
Definitely.
And Les is the master. He really is, right?
Yes, he is. I wanted you gave me a segue into Chris Downing, and I heard him talking about Beachbody. I know you were on, and could you just touch on your relationship with Chris Downing? You know, he is one of the two people. We have a lot of speakers, but I know he has a larger following than some of us, especially.
Right.
But so could you touch on your relationship with Chris Downing and who he is, and you know,
he's my brother bear. And when you meet Chris, you become part of the brother clan. When I joined as a health and fitness coach with Beachbody, Chris had a program with them called the Shift Shop. And it is like death by Downing. Like, he is the master. It's incredible. I thought, you know, here's this guy and he's like having you reach for your goals and your dreams while you're working out. It wasn't just a training program. He was a motivational speaker just by doing that program. And I'm like, I just resonated with him and gravitated towards him. Like, I got to learn more about this man. And then I heard he was coming to Toronto, and I was like, okay, I got to be there. And I remember, actually I said on the call last night, I like purchased a ticket in the draw and certain people could, you know, have the opportunity to be on stage and work out with Chris. I'm like, I know, I've got this. Like, I totally got this. And I did. I'm like, yeah, like I knew it was gonna happen. I still actually, you know, I'm going to show you right now. I still have the ticket right here.
Yeah.
It is taped to my computer. It has not left. And I will save it forever. And yeah, it'll be with me forever. And I just knew. And Chris is just one of those people that you will just you'll gravitate to, and you're like, okay, tell me more, let me learn more, let me be near you. He is such a genuine human being. And you know, not only does he have his own fitness programs that he's designed, he's got his own clothing line now, and he's running his own 9-week trainings now, and he has such a visionary. And his story of coming from nothing and hard times, and it's not just that he came from hard times, it's the obstacles that he's had to overcome along the way. And it kind of resonated with me. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I was that kid and I had my own apartment finishing high school. And I'm like, okay, so here's somebody else he's gone through this and this and this. And he just kept climbing. And even as he was climbing, he still got knocked down sometimes and he just kept climbing. And it's like, wow, like he just makes you believe that you can do it. He's amazing. I'm really looking forward to everyone getting to meet him.
Definitely. Now, you know some of the speakers. You probably know, you know all the speakers.
Brett Fogel is actually the only one I haven't personally met, but he looks amazing from what I've seen. And I've heard Gail Kingsbury, who's, you know, co-hosting the event with Les Brown Global. He's incredible, what she has said about him, and I'm looking forward to meeting him as well. But the others, yes, I do know.
Good. So the others that you know, besides me, could you just talk about them a little bit, and we're getting ready to end the call, but could you just talk about the others, and you can save Davina for last, she's the MC.
Yeah. So Mark Jarima was in the U.S. Navy for many years, but he's travels as a speaker, coach, and trainer as well. He's also done a lot of work as an executive with Silicon Valley, and Mark Jarima is a master of communication. Like communication really is 10% verbal. The rest isn't like 90%. Like with your body language and everything too. And he's a master, and he walks into a room and he has presence, not only by how he dressed, how he carries himself, and his smile. He has an aura as well. And actually, when I met him in April at the Les Brown event, I was instantly drawn to him. There were certain people that just stood out. I was like, okay, he's going to be my friend. And he's amazing. He is an incredible speaker. Like I said, author, coach, trainer. He is someone that, you know, people need to follow. Kareem Ellis, obviously one of Les Brown's platinum speakers, and this guy set the stage on fire. Like you want to be sitting with your like feet, like legs not crossed, ready for Kareem and like focus, because he's like on fire for the whole time he's there. Like you just don't want to miss anything, because every single piece of information he gives is just on point, right? Like, yeah, he's dynamite. And then Allison as well. Allison is also a Beachbody coach as well, a health and fitness coach. But she is a mom, and she is a wonderful leader, coach, trainer, works closely with Chris Downey as manager for him as well. But she's an incredible speaker and has a beautiful, beautiful story. And her delivery of her story is just so elegant. And I know that so many, not only men, but women in the room will definitely resonate with Allison and how she speaks and how she carries herself. Obviously Celeste Johnson, who works so closely with Les. She's a little secret weapon, so I'm not going to say too much about Celeste and what she does. Hal Hughes. So Hal Hughes is local to the Ottawa market, and he deals with and helps people with resilience training. Hal has his master's in psychology, and he's working closely a lot with the military and people who suffer from PTSD. He has an incredible story of overcoming trauma that he has experienced as a police officer. So, but a great person too, right? And very much into health and fitness and nutrition, and understands like it's a full mind, body, spirit experience to recovery and feeling better. And yeah, he's incredible. And yeah, did I miss anybody? And of course, Davina.
Yeah.
Our master of ceremonies, Davina Carter-Wilson. So not only is she an incredible event planner herself and speaker, coach, trainer, she's a Zumba instructor. So I am so ready. You go to these events sometimes and you want to be moving and shaking, right? You got to change your body, right? You got to get to absorb this information. And I'm so excited for Davina to get people feeling fully alive at this event. She is going to be like nothing anyone has ever seen. And I love her. Like she is just such a wonderful personality and sense of humor, and she will keep everybody fully alive.
Yeah. Definitely. We won't have a dull moment. I promise you that.
No.
If there's one last thing you want to tell the audience or something from your heart, what would that be?
Something from my heart. Don't miss this. This is once in a lifetime. We don't know what tomorrow promises. And many years ago, Wayne Dyer came to Ottawa, and I, just for financial reasons, didn't feel like I could find the money, which we all can when we need to, right? Mm-hmm. And I missed the opportunity to see him, and a couple months later he had died, and I missed that opportunity. And that's why part of the reason I got on the plane to see Les, I was like, I can't miss this opportunity. And we don't know what our life is going to be like, and we don't know how much we need something until we're there. And I think we need to treat every opportunity like this as a once in a lifetime. And so I encourage people to get your tickets, get them right away. If you can, afford the VIP, go VIP. So you have the opportunity to have a picture with Les and with Chris. You have the opportunity to have a luncheon with all the speakers, and have that meet and greet time. I feel that you grow when you're in close proximity to masters, right? And don't miss that opportunity, because we don't know what's promised, right? So I think people need to get their tickets, and they need to be there.
You've heard it from the master herself. We thank her so much. Again, hopefully you hear her story as well, and how we got here. She's an incredible, incredible, incredible lady. I appreciate her, and she's just incredible. We'll leave it. But thank you so much. And hopefully maybe I can get some of the other speakers like Allison and excuse me, to come on and just kind of talk about some things as we get closer to the event.
Sure. And we'll tell people where to get tickets as well.
Yes.
Right. So you're going to go on to ottawa.lesbrownevent.com. And that's where you can get your tickets for the event, the regular tickets and the VIP. And if you are planning to stay with us at the Brook Street Hotel, we also have a link there to get preferred group rate that we have set up for everybody. So we encourage you. Come on Friday night and stay for the event, stay over again too. And if you can extend your stay to stay a little bit longer here, especially for people who aren't familiar with the area, and to stay later, it is Canada Day weekend. So you know what? Stay in and enjoy the capital city, right? It's going to be awesome. But get those tickets. I want you to make sure that you're there.
Get those tickets. Don't miss it, as she said. So thank you so much, Rachel. Have an awesome evening, and I look forward to seeing you at the top.
Thank you. See you there.